What is up, sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of Pez's Picks. I am Jeff Hartman, joined by the man with the picks, Pez himself. Pez, you're up in Vermont. What's going on?
Up in the Green Mountains of Killington, Vermont, Jeff, over my shoulder there, Killington Peak, still snow covered. We're still mogul skiing. It's not an easy run though, Jeff. I saw a number of people the treacherous backwards on your back downhill slide the mountain should not be out there. They don't have enough signs, Killington. My only complaint about the mountain, we're still open. We're turning into May, but it is double Black Diamond Canyon mogul skiing only. We've got explosions going off all day. They're putting a new lift in Killington, a new superstar. Anybody that's been to Killington will know that run. Getting a 6-pack chair, and they're using explosives. There's signs everywhere, but they're not. They're warning about that, but not the level of skiing, Jeff. Which my 11-year-old, thankfully, has been raised here, so he looks at it as a normal day. My blood pressure goes up thinking about it. It's probably life endangering, but we shouldn't be talking about that, Jeff. But anyway, get to Killington. You got all 3 seasons. You can golf, you can bike, you can ski right now. One of the only places in the world you're doing that. And we're resetting, Jeff. We're getting into spring and summer gambling. It's a total reset from NFL, and we still got that on our mind. We got the big draft this week.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to talk about spring sports gambling here in the second half of the show. But let's start off with we got the NBA playoffs that's going on. We have some MLB talk. We've got some PGA Tour golf talk. Let's start with the NBA, though. Pez, how's everything been going for you with your picks in the NBA playoffs?
Jeff, we're treading water right now. We're 3-3. Every gambler, all we ever think about are our losses. We had Denver a few nights ago, laying 3. We're up 5. Game's over. Joker, everything worked out, and some jabroni from the Clippers heaves a half court shot, and that's it. That makes it 3. We don't cover by 1. This is why basketball gambling it's an evil game, but we love it. We're going to keep doing it. Baseball, similar situation. We're 3-2 right now. We're treading water. We're still trying to collect as much data as we can. Things are starting to sort out a little bit. Something we can talk about with baseball gambling when we get into the second part of the show. Your whip rating, Jeff. I know we talked about a run differential last week, but for Pez's picks, your whip rating, which is the amount of hits you're accumulating to walks each inning for a pitcher, and that we look at as a significant statistics, almost like an interception stat that we look at. Today we're taking a play. We're taping. This is Wednesday morning. We're doing a little early coffee show today, Jeff. But we're taking an early day game. So by the time this comes out, it's going to be history. We're going to chalk it up to a win already. We're taking Zach Wheeler up against Peterson. Whip rating for Wheeler right now 0.99. Anytime you get under a 1 whip rating, I mean that's phenomenal, right? So you're averaging less than a runner, a guy on base an inning, and that's what we're looking for at Pez's picks, and it's kind of an interception kind of comparison we make.
All right, and so we'll be talking about spring sports here in a second, but we also wanted to talk about golf a little bit. This weekend is the Zurich Classic, which is the team format down in New Orleans. This one, Pez, I mean, betting on golf is difficult enough, but when you throw in a team, I love this tournament. I really do. It's fun to watch. Rounds 1 and 3 are best ball, and so for the people that don't know, it's also called 4 ball, where all 4 players have their ball in play. You take the best score out of the 2. Then rounds 2 and 4 are alternating shot. Now, I grew up, that was called F your buddy, because if you and I are partners and you hit the ball into the woods, I got to go play it from the woods. So that's alternating shots. So this is really unique. Last year's champions were Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry, the 2 Irishmen, and they are the odds-on favorite to win again at plus 360. But again, the difficulty ramps up because you're not just picking one player. You got to pick a team. What do you think about this tournament first and foremost?
Two things, Jeff. Number one, I think this type of tournament is hokey. This should not count for a PGA title. Okay, this goes against all of the rules of PGA golfing. It's one man against nature and 150 other dudes, right? So that's number one. Is it entertaining? It can be. Looking at these odds, though, how could we not take Lowry and McIlroy? Both are playing, you could argue, top 7, maybe top 5 in the world right now. They're the defending champions. Plus 360, not a bad return on that. That's actually worth probably almost 4-to-1 flyer there. A team I like a lot, and a team all Indian American here. We're going to go with Rye, Two Gloves Rye, and Thigala. I kind of like them in this situation. Thigala not playing well. We saw last year Rory came into this tournament looking like his career was going down the tubes. He had some domestic issues. Gets a big win leaning on the big Irishman Lowry. I think we could see a little Thigala and Rye's playing. I mean, phenomenal. The guy hits irons as good as anybody. I'm going to go out on a limb, Jeff. The best two-glove golfer in PGA history, this Rye guy. I love him. And right now we're getting them at plus 2,200, which is pretty strong odds. And I don't even want to bring it up, Jeff. I've been losing sleep over it. My guy Joel Damon. Oh my God.
Oh man, that was brutal.
We had 2 PGA tournaments last week. I watched the other one. The guy bogeys, I think, 4 out of the last 6, throws away a tournament and Punta Cana down in Mexico, and I can't believe this guy. I love him, Jeff. He's one of my favorite golfers. As human as you can be. He's like you or I, or actually, no, he's not you or I. Jeff, he's not you. He's a beer drinking, big belly golfer that could be at anybody's country club or public course. And I feel for the guy. Maybe we take a little runner on him. I don't know if he can recover from this, Jeff. I don't know.
That was brutal. But I'm going to go with my long shot pick are the Højgaards. That's right. Nikolai and Rasmus Højgaard at plus 2,800. I'm pretty sure they're brothers. I
believe they are.
I was trying to find groups of people. So you look at Lowry and McIlroy. They're both Irishmen. They're friends. They're gonna. This isn't just, hey, I'm playing in this tournament. I need a partner. Do you want to play? That to me is Sahith Theegala and Aaron Rai. Is there a connection between these two guys? I don't know. I do like Kurt Kitayama and Colin Morikawa. They're my favorites at plus 1,200. But you know who I like top 5? Billy Horschel. You don't like him. I do. And Tom Hoagie. I like that team plus 550 for a top 5 finish. I think those guys are good. I think Horschel's a good team player.
Tom Hoagie, probably the greatest moneymaker golfer that doesn't win, right? Him and Sepp Straka.
Yes.
Every week. This is our JMU 6-string punter from 20 years ago. He bets Hoagie every week top 20, and I don't think this guy's ever out of the top 20. A little bit of an awkward matchup. Do they know each other, Jeff? I don't know. Seemingly different body shapes. I know Horschel, big marathon guy. Yep. Hoagie eats a lot of hoagies. I mean, you can tell with this guy. So I like the Højgaards, and that brothers playing together, I think, have an advantage. The closer you are to your team player, or your partner, is going to be a huge advantage, right? Yeah. If I played with the JMU 6-string punter, I'd be confident, Jeff. I wouldn't feel bad. He knows I'm going to hit shitty drives, right? I'm probably a 40 handicap off the tee inside 100 yards. I'm probably like a 5 handicap. So he would pick me, I think, a little charity sake, but also we win money together, Jeff. I mean, this is a matchup. People go, oh man, this guy's going to be flaring them left and right. We'll play his 280 off the tee consistently, and once my wedge game kicks in. So I think there's a lot of that goes into it. I don't know. Lowry and McIlroy going to be tough to beat. Defending champion. We know Rory likes to win in bunches. Lowry, I mean, this guy's been a few shots from a couple majors in the last couple. So I like that team at plus 360 a lot. Usually we don't lean on favorites, but I'll take that. And, I'm gonna go with my all Indian team. I'll go with Ryan Theegala. I think Theegala guy's got to turn it around. He's had a rough, 6-12 months. So we got to go with that one.
Well, the gambler in me is pissed off at this. I might do well with my picks in this tournament, but I've got to. I had 7 wins or 7 events in a row with a pick correct. Heading into the Valero, the streak ended. Picked it back up at the Masters. Got 2 right last week at the RBC Heritage. And so I'm going to count. I'm starting a new streak. I feel like this shouldn't count, but I'm going to count it nonetheless. I'm not going to, do that. But still, let's take the conversation and let's talk about the difference between fall sports and spring sports and even winter sports when it comes to how you want to approach gambling on these sports. Now, I'll start this thing off by saying, and I told you this before we hit record. If people that listen to us talk about golf gambling, if you don't follow the game of golf, just don't. Just don't do it. It is so difficult. You have to really pay close attention to who's playing well, looking at leaderboards, trends, and stuff like that. But Pez, what do you think about the spring sports landscape in terms of gambling?
Uh, Anyone that's ever stayed at a casino, Jeff, they have a channel that teaches you about every game. And it's generally an attractive lady who's smiling and telling you how much fun it is to go play craps, blackjack, roulette, all of which have different odds and a different cost benefit analysis on how much money you're going to lose or get your money back. So, spring sports, we're going to compare that to kind of the money wheel at the casino, which you can go and put a $5 bill that the money wheel is going to hit 22. If it hits, you're winning a lot of money. You got a 1 out of 100 chance. So, uh, what what I'm suggesting when we make the sausage here at Pez's Picks, baseball and basketball betting have an incredibly higher level threat to the validity of our data. So we're getting a little wonky in the statistics and data analysis, but threat to validity of data would be anything externally that's going to change what generally should happen if everybody hits their averages. So in the NFL, I mean, consistency is way easier to kind of use the data to predict and to make rational arguments for investing your money. Baseball and basketball, especially, much more difficult. If we look at basketball, this is Wednesday. We're taping. We're going to take Orlando, Boston tonight. So when we punch these numbers, we're going to do a quick kind of differential. The differential between these two teams, pretty slight. So Orlando coming in, number one defensive team in the league, giving up 105 points. Boston coming in, number 2 or 307 points. So they're a 2 right there. Boston scoring about 10 more points a game. So you can give them about a plus 12. The current line is hovering around 10, 11 points. So that's about where the line's coming from. Now, what we're going to punch into our system, Jason Tatum falls, hurts his shooting wrist two nights ago. Will that wrist affect him tonight? He's doubtful. I believe it will. If he plays or not, your shooting wrist should affect your average amount of points. So the threat to the validity is Jason Tatum really hurt? Is this something he's milking? Is the doubtful, I don't know, something that they're doing to put in Orlando's head? Another thing we're going to put into our equation, Orlando, you have to win this game if you're going to have any type of chance of winning this series. It's game 2. You go down 2-0 to Boston, lights out. So game 1, Orlando played horribly. Big underdog. They got smoked. We're looking for Orlando to step up the defense tonight and have some more bench scoring. So we're looking at 8 guys on hitting their averages tonight or on the Orlando Magic. So that's a very difficult thing to predict, where in football, you've got the quarterback who's going to handle the ball 100% of your offensive plays. So that's probably 50% of your gamble on an NFL football game is the quarterback, maybe even 75%, you could argue. They are touching the ball every play. The threat to your validity of your data is just one person. So for basketball, we're looking at 7, 8 guys. Baseball, same situation. We're betting on a pitcher, but then we also have 9 hitters that we're going up against that's going to kind of challenge the validity to the data. With baseball, I actually feel like we have a little bit better betting situation. Generally, pitchers do what they're going to do based on their averages. If they're good pitchers, generally teams are going to hit against left or right-handed pitchers based on what their data says. But of course, you're going to have a flyer. Aaron Judge, I believe he had 4 hits last night. The Yankees lost. Anytime Aaron Judge, I'm going to make a prediction, Jeff. The Yankees have never lost when Aaron Judge has 4 hits in the night. That's just my prediction, right? So last night they get smoked, even though that guy's hot and he's lighting it up. We almost took the Yankees last night. I'm so thankful we didn't. Would have been a bad loss for us. So these are the kind of things that you have to punch into your system, your thinking when you're betting on spring sports.
Yeah, it's, and I hope people, what they took away from what you just said is that you can't approach a spring sport bet, whether, I mean, you don't like parlays no matter what, but still, you can't take the same approach to each sport. Because with football, I don't think there's any sport other than the NFL, correct me if I'm wrong, Pez, that is that open about all the exterior criteria like injuries and reports and players that are maybe a little bit banged up compared to players that might be in the doghouse. Like, they're very open. Can you think of another sport that's like that?
Absolutely not, Jeff. And like the Phillies yanked their pitcher yesterday. They said maybe he gets an MRI, maybe not. That doesn't fly in the NFL. In the NFL, we have consistency. It's a system that's based to punish teams that don't publish injury reports. And they're looking at Atlanta last year with Turd Cousins apparently having a shoulder injury for 5 weeks, nobody released. So in the NBA, it's a fraudulent sport at this point. It's why we shied away from it in the regular season. The injury report was littered they would put all starting five in the injury report practically every night in case one sits. Then they don't want to get fined or lose draft picks. That's illegitimate to us. Baseball, a very difficult thing to handicap with injuries. It's an old time legacy in baseball to hide injuries, right? You don't want anybody knowing when your pitcher's a little dinged up. You don't want anyone knowing if a hitter's got a little bit of shoulder or elbow injury, it's affecting his swing. So tougher in those sports to kind of get accurate data, accurate injury reports. I mean, I'd even say golf has a better tradition with this, right? If a golfer has a fingernail off, they're not playing, Jeff, right? This guy's done. I mean, they're out, or they're letting you know. I mean, they're letting you know in the pregame, why does this guy have tape on his hand? And when you're investing money, I mean, we're seeing this with the stock market right now. We want consistency. I would argue right now, gambling on basketball and baseball, even though they're not as consistent as football, probably a safer bet than the Dow Jones. Dow Jones has swung 1,000 points each day, almost every other day. Not a consistent thing to invest in. What we're looking for is consistent reports and data, and we're starting to build that in baseball. And I think with basketball, we're down to the wire in basketball. NFL, everybody's got a finite number of games. You've got 17 games. Every game is a playoff game. I mean, there is not a game where somebody doesn't take, you're not taking plays off. You're not sitting starters. You need to win every game. Baseball, basketball, you're getting into, 100-some games. You're getting into 82 games. But come playoffs and NBA, things should work out the way that the data presents itself. And we're hoping for that tonight with Orlando. We have another play tonight too, Jeff. This is Wednesday. So, if we lose it happened in the past anyway, so we can't judge ourselves. So we're going to go with Orlando tonight, and we're going to play the odds with Cleveland, laying 12 right now, 12.5. Why we like this game, the Miami Heat. I mean, that a team we made some money on last week. We went 2 in a row with that team. They do not have the horses to cover the horses on Cleveland. I mean, the matchup couldn't be worse for Miami. Hero cannot cover either guard for Cleveland. Guy can shoot, but when you're a defensive liability, you get exposed in that league. If I'm seeing it on TV, their tape and their algorithm and whoever their analytics guys are in Cleveland, they're watching this. They're going to take that guy to the hole every night. They're going to expose him, and we like that Cleveland-Miami game tonight a lot too, at -12.
Any other leans that you have coming up or anything you want to announce?
So again, this is, it's been very difficult. The Lakers have been puzzling, Jeff. We like them a lot. We're glad we didn't really jump on them too hard. A team that's lacking a big man, but you probably have the 2 smartest basketball players in the league right now. I kind of like them. Detroit, New York, brutal series. I'm liking Detroit and their chances right now with 1-1. Oklahoma City, Jeff, I don't know. I don't know how that team loses this year. I see an Oklahoma City, Boston Celtics final. I think Oklahoma City, a year older, most talented roster. I don't know how anybody stops that team. I just don't know how it happens.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, the playoffs here, but something just came to my mind. You talk about the reporting of injuries, whether it's the golf or baseball. I don't think there's a sport, we don't bet on this here at Pez's Picks, but there's no sport worse than hockey, where a player just has an upper body injury, and that's it. You have no specificity whatsoever with the injuries. Like, how are people in the sports gambling has gone to every single branch of professional sports? How does the NHL not say, okay, we can't do this anymore? Like, we got to be a little bit more specific. And they'll say, well, we don't want our guys getting targeted. You don't think guys in the NFL are targeting, like, because they know there's an injury report and there's a knee injury? Like, if Saquon Barkley of the Eagles has a banged up knee, you don't think that a defensive back who sees him barreling down on him is not going to say, screw that, I'm going after his knee? Like, I don't understand it. Hockey's tough. That is tough, man.
Hockey is a sport that we suggest no one to gamble on, Jeff. It is a lights out, unpredictable sport. I love watching it. It has changed. I think when the league was rougher and it was more physical, that was a much easier thing to bet on. I bet the Jersey Devils every time they played Eric Lindros and the Flyers. I knew Scott Stevens was knocking that guy out every time. I knew, everybody knew, you could not cross the middle of that ice with your head down without Stevens knocking you out. And that changed the game, kind of like the Detroit Pistons. We go back to the late 80s, early 90s. You were not going into the key with you weren't getting knocked on your ass by Lambeer or Rodman or John Sally. That's all changed. We're now in a finesse situation in basketball, in hockey. And when you have finesse situations, you can't predict a guy that's going to be on a heater. If a guy scored 2 goals in the playoffs in old NHL hockey, they'd send some guy off off the bench to go in and fight that guy, right? I mean, they beat the hell out of that guy, or they try to knock him out. Can't do that anymore, which is healthier for the players. I'm not suggesting this isn't a good thing. It's bad for gambling, better for the health of the players. NBA, I question a lot of the NBA right now, where that direction of that league is going. It's a flopping league. LeBron James is guilty of this more than anybody. He flops every play, offense and defense, that's spread down to a younger generation of stars. When you have flopping, you have inconsistency in injury reports, you begin to question the whole validity of that league, and it is a tougher thing to gamble on for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, Pez, this has been great. I want to remind everyone out there listening, or if you're watching, for the most up-to-date picks and odds and all that information, be on to check out Pez on social media at Pez's Picks, both on Instagram and on Twitter. And that's where you want to go, because this is a once-a-week podcast. We might be expanding in the future, but right now it's once a week. So that's why it's a little bit more informative. If you want those specific picks, that's where you got to check them out. But Pez, any final thoughts?
Well, Jeff, for the draft, if anyone's wagering on that, which again is insane, but I hope you do.
Crazy.
It's a fun thing. A couple things that we're looking at in this NFL draft. I predict linemen who I don't know, Jeff. I mean, you might know, you're a little bit more into the football analytics and the data, but linemen I don't know are going to be drafted in the first round. It's going to be a boring draft. We're going to have lineman after lineman after lineman picked, quarterback crop. A week at best. I mean, at best, this is a weak crop. We're still scoring Jersey boy, Philadelphia boy, Kyle McCord as our best NFL quarterback. I don't think he's a first-round pick. Maybe somebody takes a flyer in the second round of this guy. The only pocket passer I think worth anybody, I don't like Howard in Ohio State. I'll take McCord over him. Has the size, has the athleticism, I think, to be a pocket passer in that league. Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward. I don't like these guys. I see turnover. I see size situation. I don't like them. And I do see teams making a mistake on these guys. Look for winning teams to load up on offensive and defensive linemen. The Philadelphia Eagles won a Super Bowl doing this, right? I mean, you could argue they should have 3 in the last 6 years. They kind of blew one against Kansas City. The amount of pressure our defensive line put on teams, including Mahomes, unchallenged in the league. And our offensive line, we just re-signed Dickerson. We're locked in on that. Look for them to bolster. Maybe take a flyer. The Philadelphia Eagles move up. Maybe a tight end. I think we're going to take a flyer and move up and get a dynamic tight end. And that offense is unstoppable, Jeff. Philadelphia Eagles, unstoppable.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I can't believe you said Kyle McCord was your QB1 after all the trash you talked on that kid when he was at Ohio State 2 years ago. You bashed the hell out of that guy, and now you're saying he's the best prospect of the group. That's hysterical.
Well, 34 touchdowns. I think he had 12 picks, but 5 of them in one game, and I think that's a game
against
we bet.
Pitt. It was against
we
Pitt,
bet against him, but you take those 5 away, that guy had a record-breaking season, a better offense, and I think they ran a pro offense and told him to go out there and win games, and that guy did. Having said that, he's not a walk-in starting game 1, week 1 NFL quarterback. I don't think any of these guys are. I think the smart teams will draft down. They'll trade, or they're going to take the best lineman available, which I think is something that you have to do. I don't see how teams aren't picking up on this. When's the last time somebody took a QB1, first 5 picks, and ended up really changing their team? It hasn't happened in a while. I mean, it really hasn't. A couple flyers too, Jeff. We got a couple early Kentucky Derby next week. I mean, we'll have a lot of coverage on this all week, but until we talk again, Rodriguez right now, plus 1,100. This is a Mike Smith jockey. He's the most seasoned jockey that's going to be in the Derby this year. Trainer Bob Baffert. I mean, Jeff, you got to be a criminal to be a good horse trainer, and this guy's as criminal as it gets. So we're going to go with Bob Baffert, Mike Smith, Rodriguez, plus 1,100. He came in plus 2,200. These odds have dropped significantly. 2-2-1 record. I love a 2-2-1 record for a Derby horse, Jeff. That means that Baffert's saying, you're not going to win this week. We want to keep the odds high. I could see him doing that. I love Rodriguez at a plus 1,100. We'll have all kinds of picks in the next 7 to 10 days, and hopefully they win, Jeff. Again, horse betting, we might as well bet in hockey, but it's a lot of fun betting horse betting. You have to. You got to bet the Triple Crown.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about that more as the spring turns into summer. But Pez, man, I hope you enjoy your time within Vermont. Enjoy the draft, and we'll be talking next week. Take it easy.
Sounds good. Later.